Many people believe that when life reaches its final chapter, it happens suddenly. One day, everything is fine, and the next, a loved one is gone. But in reality, the body often starts preparing for this transition long before it actually happens. If you've been noticing little changes in someone close to you, perhaps they seem more tired than usual, eat less, or don't quite seem like themselves, you might have brushed it off as just aging. And that's understandable. No one wants to think about the possibility that time is running out. But the truth is, recognizing these changes early can make a world of difference. It gives you a chance to be there for them in ways that truly matter, to create meaningful moments, and to ensure their final months, weeks, or days are filled with comfort and dignity. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 key signs that often appear a year before an elderly person reaches the end of their life. Some of them might be things you've already noticed but didn't think much of. Others might be more subtle, happening so gradually that they go unnoticed until the changes become undeniable. This isn't about fear, it's about understanding. It's about being prepared, both emotionally and practically, so that when the time comes, you're not left with regrets about what could have been done differently. And more importantly, it's about making the most of the time you have left with those you love. Now, before we dive in, I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from? Comment below and share your city. I always enjoy hearing from you. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more tips like these. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Sign 1. Significant weight loss. One of the first and most noticeable signs that someone may be nearing the final stage of life is unintentional weight loss. It doesn't happen all at once. At first, you might notice their clothes fitting a little looser, or maybe their belt needs tightening. They might start leaving more food on their plate or say they just don't feel hungry like they used to. At first, it seems small, just a normal part of getting older. But over time, the changes become more obvious. What many people don't realize is that when an elderly person starts losing weight without trying, it's often because their body isn't absorbing nutrients the way it used to. As organ function slows down, the digestive system becomes less efficient. Muscles start to shrink, and the body begins prioritizing its remaining energy for the most essential functions. This isn't just about looking thinner. It's a sign that their body is changing in a deeper way. Another reason for weight loss is a shift in appetite. The sense of taste weakens, food becomes less appealing, and meals feel like more of a chore than a pleasure. Some may skip meals altogether or only eat small portions. Families often try to encourage them to eat more, offering favorite foods or high-calorie drinks. But sometimes, no matter what you do, they just don't feel like eating. That's because the body is naturally slowing down. It no longer signals hunger the same way it used to. For loved ones, this can be frustrating. It's natural to worry when someone you care about isn't eating enough. But instead of focusing on forcing meals, the best thing you can do is prioritize comfort, offering easy-to-eat, nutrient-rich foods, encouraging hydration, and making mealtimes relaxed rather than stressful. Weight loss at this stage isn't something that can always be fixed, but by recognizing what's happening, you can provide understanding and support instead of frustration or fear. Sign 2. Extreme fatigue and weakness. One of the biggest changes you might notice in a loved one nearing the end of life is deep, persistent fatigue. And I'm not talking about just feeling a little tired after a long day. I'm talking about exhaustion that doesn't go away, no matter how much they rest. At first, it might seem like they're just slowing down with age. Maybe they sit more often, take longer naps, or prefer staying in bed a little later. But over time, even small tasks, getting out of bed, walking across the room, or even holding a conversation, start to feel overwhelming. This isn't just old age catching up with them. It's their body conserving energy as it begins to slow down. As organ function weakens, the body starts prioritizing what's essential. The heart doesn't pump as strongly, circulation slows, and muscles don't get as much oxygen as they used to. This is why elderly individuals in their final months or year often feel weak, unsteady, and unable to do the things they once could. It's not that they don't want to. They simply don't have the strength anymore. For families, this can be heartbreaking. You might remember them as someone who was always active, always moving, and now, they just don't have the energy. It's easy to think, maybe if they just tried a little harder, they'd feel better. But the truth is, pushing them to do more can actually make things worse. They need rest. They need understanding. What you can do is support them in ways that matter, helping them move when they need it, making their space comfortable, and accepting that their energy will come and go. Instead of measuring their days by what they can do, measure it by how they feel. Being present, offering gentle encouragement, and allowing them to rest when needed is the best gift you can give. Sign 3. Cognitive decline and emotional withdrawal. One of the more difficult changes to witness in a loved one is when their mind and personality start to shift. Maybe they were once sharp, full of stories and laughter, but now they seem quieter, more forgetful, or even disconnected from the world around them. This isn't just everyday forgetfulness. It's a sign that the brain, like the rest of the body, is slowing down. At first, the changes may seem minor. They might forget small things, where they left their glasses, what day it is, or the details of a recent conversation. But over time, it can become more noticeable. They may repeat themselves, struggle to follow along in conversations, or have moments where they seem confused, even in familiar places. Some may even withdraw emotionally, speaking less, avoiding eye contact, or seeming uninterested in things that used to bring them joy. This happens because the brain needs a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to function properly, and as circulation weakens, so does cognitive ability. This can also affect emotions. Someone who was once social and engaging may now seem distant or detached. It's not that they don't care anymore. It's that their brain simply doesn't process emotions and social interactions the same way it used to. For families, this can be one of the hardest signs to accept. It can feel like you're losing your loved one before they're even gone. It's frustrating when they forget names, confusing when they suddenly don't recognize certain people, and heartbreaking when they seem to pull away. But it's important to remember, this isn't something they can control. The best thing you can do is meet them where they are. Speak gently, be patient, and understand that even if they don't always respond, they can still feel your presence. Play their favorite music, show them old photos, and sit with them in moments of silence. Even when words fade, love and comfort can still be felt. Sign 4. Frequent infections and slow healing. As the body nears its final stage, one of the clearest signs is a weakened immune system. You may notice that your loved one, who rarely got sick before, now seems to catch every little cold, flu, or infection. A simple cough lingers longer than usual. A minor cut or bruise takes weeks to heal. What once seemed like small health issues now become ongoing battles. This happens because the body is no longer repairing itself as efficiently as before. The immune system, which once fought off infections with ease, slows down. Wounds take longer to close because blood circulation isn't as strong. Even antibiotics, which used to work quickly, may not be as effective anymore. One of the most common infections in the elderly is pneumonia. A cold that starts as just a little congestion can quickly turn into a serious respiratory issue. Urinary tract infections, UTIs, also become more frequent, often causing confusion and weakness before other symptoms even appear. Skin infections, pressure sores, and even oral infections can also develop, especially if mobility is limited. For families, this can be a difficult transition. The natural instinct is to rush to the hospital, get stronger medication, or push for more treatments. But at a certain point, it's important to ask, are these treatments helping, or are they just prolonging discomfort? Instead of focusing on aggressive medical interventions, the best thing you can do is prioritize comfort. Keeping them hydrated, ensuring their skin is cared for, and minimizing stress on the body can do more for their well-being than another round of antibiotics. This is a time to focus on quality of life, not just fighting every illness that comes along. Sign 5. Changes in breathing and circulation. One of the most telling signs that the body is preparing for its final stage is a noticeable change in breathing and circulation. This can be one of the hardest things for families to witness, but understanding what's happening can help ease some of the fear. At first, the changes may be subtle. Your loved one might start breathing more slowly or shallowly, taking longer pauses between breaths. Some may experience irregular breathing patterns, where they breathe deeply for a while, then suddenly slow down. A specific pattern called Cheyne-Stokes respiration, where breathing alternates between deep breaths and long pauses, is common in the final months or weeks. Another key sign is weakened circulation. You might notice that their hands, feet, or even their nose and ears feel cold to the touch. Their skin may look pale, bluish, or mottled, especially around the fingers and toes. This happens because the heart isn't pumping as strongly as before, and the body is prioritizing blood flow to the most essential organs. Some people also experience shortness of breath, even with minimal movement. Simply sitting up, talking, or shifting positions can leave them winded. Fluid buildup in the lungs can make breathing more difficult, sometimes causing a persistent cough or a faint gurgling sound. Families often mistake this for congestion, but in elderly individuals nearing the end of life, it's usually a sign of the lungs weakening. Seeing these changes can be frightening, and the instinct is to help, encouraging them to take deep breaths, propping them up, or worrying that something urgent is happening. But in many cases, these changes are simply part of the body's natural slowing down process. What you can do is focus on comfort. Keep the room cool and quiet, offer small sips of water, and ensure they're positioned in a way that makes breathing easier. In some cases, medications or oxygen therapy can provide relief, but the goal isn't to fix the issue. It's to make them as comfortable as possible. If you notice these signs, irregular breathing, cold extremities, or a bluish tint to the skin, it's a sign that the body is conserving energy. This is a time to be present, to offer reassurance, and to create a peaceful environment where they feel safe and at ease. We've now discussed the 5 key signs that often appear in the year leading up to an elderly person's passing. 1. Significant weight loss. 2. Extreme fatigue and weakness. 3. Cognitive decline and emotional withdrawal. 4. Frequent infections and slow healing. 5. Changes in breathing and circulation. Each of these signs is a signal that the body is gradually slowing down. They may not all happen at once, and some may be more noticeable than others. But when you start seeing these changes, it's an opportunity, not for panic, but for preparation. Instead of trying to fight what's happening, this is a time to shift the focus to comfort, dignity, and making the most of the time you have left together. It's about cherishing the small moments, sharing stories, sitting together in silence, offering gentle care, and ensuring that in their final days, they know they are loved. If you're going through this with someone close to you, take a deep breath and remember, you are not alone. Many families have walked this path before, and while it is never easy, understanding what to expect can help you find strength, patience, and peace in the journey ahead. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this video has helped you, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more content like this. Your support helps us continue to create videos that inform and inspire. Take care, and remember, love and presence matter more than anything else.